we turn to Richard McColl, a journalist in Colombia who's been covering this story since the beginning. Richard, what's the latest news on the health of these kids?
Thank you. Yes, the children were airlifted early this morning from Guaviare to the military hospital in Bogota, and they've been under constant surveillance since then. The most recent news coming out of the hospital is that they're in good health, but they will probably stay in the hospital for 3 weeks. I mean, remember, they have been in the jungle alone for 40 days. They've lost significant amount of weight, and indeed they're severely dehydrated and been very bitten by insects. So we're looking at 3 weeks hospitalized here in Bogota. The nurses and doctors say that they're not talking very much, but they're ready to start playing with one another.
About how they lasted so long. What did they eat? What did they do to survive? And how common is it to see missions like this in Colombia?
Well, yes, I mean, it's kind of incredible that they survived. But of course, these are indigenous children, and the oldest being 13 years old. Well, they have a knowledge. They have a knowledge of the jungle. They do live in this region. But the food, of course, during this period of the year is even more scarce. The high water, it rains for sometimes 16 hours on end. But the military and the indigenous communities who were conducting the search did come across fruit and seeds that were partially bitten by the children, so therefore partially eaten by the children. The children also managed to take some cassava flour or manioc from the aeroplane when they crashed on May the 1st. So that was also part of the food that sustained them. Also, along with that, the military had been throwing aid packages into the jungle from the flights, the search and rescue flights, and it is believed that the children found one of these because this was recovered on Sunday by the military themselves. In terms of how often this happens, well, thankfully, these crashes in the jungle don't seem to happen too often, but at the same time, what we're looking at are two different elements here. 4 young children lost in the jungle is a very emotive image. It reads like a film script. And indeed, at the same time, it's very vivid. We can see it. It was never far from the front pages these last couple of weeks, these last 40 days, really. And so there was a sort of mediatic campaign as well as the social media. But at the same time, the second element is that the first leftist president of Colombia, President Gustavo Petro, he said very soon after his inauguration directly to the military, "You will now be judged on lives saved, not lives taken." And this really has changed the narrative of the armed forces. Look at how long they were out there. Look at how much time, effort, and presumably budget was spent looking for these children in what is a major and incredible humanitarian operation.
All right, Richard McColl, thanks very much for the update there.